British mother of 3 has died just days after undergoing cosmetic surgery in Turkey.
It's 26-year-old Demia Goglia who died from a heart attack hours before she was to return to Salford in Greater Manchester. She'd just had a Brazilian bum lift operation in Istanbul. Well, we're joined now by Sara Platt, who knows all too well about the risks of cosmetic surgery abroad, needing multiple operations to correct procedures that nearly cost her life.
We're also joined by Ian Whittaker, professional of plastic surgery at the Welsh Centre for Burns and Plastic Surgery. Welcome both. Sara, before we ask you why, I guess you will give us your permission to show this video, first of all. And I just want to say to people, there's a reason for doing this story. It's a warning. They're graphic pictures, please be aware of that, but we have Sara's permission to show it. If you could roll the VT, please. Sara, talk over this if you can, my darling, please.
Yeah. So this is basically what I'm left with after having surgery. Do you mean I look like a jigsaw puzzle? And if it wasn't for Professor Whittaker, I wouldn't be here at all.
Sara, thank you so much for being so brave in showing us those pictures, telling us, you know, exposing what happened. You lost lots of weight and then you wanted to have surgery to improve sort of what you look like. Explain to us what procedure you were after and what went wrong.
So when I flew out, I was supposed to be having a FDL, extended tummy tuck, and an uplift and a boob job. And then I was supposed to be having my arms and my sides done in 6 months' time. I didn't really want that done, but they upselled so much that, you know, it made me feel really rubbish about my body and my arms. So I ended up booking for that in 6 months' time too. But he done all the surgeries at once, which like is barbaric what he done to me. Jimmy, he cut across my back when that wasn't even spoke about in the first place.
And so why was it that you decided that going to Turkey was the right decision rather than doing something, you know, you live in Manchester, rather than having any surgery on the NHS?
I live in South Wales.
Oh, sorry. Why did you decide to go abroad for that treatment?
So I previously had a gastric sleeve abroad. I needed that for health reasons. I needed an emergency hysterectomy. And I couldn't wait for the 4-year waiting list on the NHS. So I flew abroad for that. And that went fine. Do you mean I lost nearly 12 stone? And I couldn't afford the prices over here. I really couldn't afford, like the prices were double. Do you mean my surgeon was still nearly £15,000, so he was expensive. And like I seen his reviews, I flew out a year previously to having my surgery. I visited all the hospitals, like 8 hospitals, 8 surgeons, 8 clinics, just to make sure I was making the right decision. And do you mean, and it still went wrong.
If I can please, thank you, Sara, for now. And we're doing this story, if you're just tuning in, on the back of that poor young lady who went for a Brazilian bum lift in Turkey and sadly died. Professor Ian Whittaker, cosmetic surgeon. I've done this story before. I'm going to continue to do this story as a way of warning. Ian, I absolutely understand, would never stand in the way of people's right to do this. But by God, I don't even want to go down what it costs the NHS. Let's talk about how traumatic and soul-destroying and life-ending some of this can be for people and what the dangers are, my friend.
Yeah, so I think this is a very, very important discussion, as you've alluded to. It's very topical at the moment. The British Association of Aesthetic Plastic Surgeons are liaising with the Turkish associations, which is unprecedented, you know, due to the increase in complications. If you think those photos and video of Sarah is shocking now, you should have seen her when she came into hospital. When I was on call, I remember the day we got a photograph. This lady's in pain, she's asking some advice. He decided straight away she needed to come in immediately. We did life-saving surgery to remove bits of the body which didn't have a blood supply and were infected. And our aim is to try and make Sarah look as normal as possible and give her as much confidence as possible. But there's no doubt, as Sarah said, that if it hadn't been treated quickly, you know, then she wouldn't be here today. So it's important to think very seriously about travelling abroad for surgery for various reasons. It is more cost effective, it's cheaper, but you've got to think what cost would you put on your health
And Ian,
And there's
presumably,
very-
if something does go wrong, you're not in the right place to even speak to the person who treated you to try and get it sorted.
Yeah, I agree totally. This is what I find slightly confusing. Sarah, to be honest, did a lot of research, it seems, visiting, looking at clinics. But if you think about it, you're going to a different country, different culture, different language. As you say, your surgeon isn't often there to help, particularly if you've flown home, then you're in the hands of the NHS, which will take on life-threatening things, but it's not going to help if it's not life-threatening. And some people, as we've heard, don't even make it, back to have this.
Ian,
it's very important to say there are some good Turkish surgeons.
Yeah, okay, and I get that, but I want to stay with this. And you make a really good point about Sarah. Sarah researched this 8 times, right? There will be people who will be thinking, I could just jump on a plane to Turkey, I saw Rio Ferdinand went there to get his hair done, people are getting their teeth done, all of that. When you say to me on national television, there were parts, and Sarah, thank you so much, please, I saw you get emotional, parts of her body had been left without blood supply, and we're saying they're a good... This man should be... This is an utter disgrace, Ian, isn't it?
Yeah, well, myself and my team have done a lot of research on this recently and really, drill down into what the safety factors are. And, the operation Sarah had, she shouldn't have been encouraged to have more parts done at the same time. They shouldn't have all been done together. And there's no doubt that the operative plan, the operation, did, leave her open to increased risk. We know, travel can leave you open to increased risk in terms of blood clots, and things. And we know you should be looked after for a relatively long amount of time afterwards, to have the aftercare to check you're well enough to go home. And it seems Sarah had immediate complications and came home when there was active issues going on, which should never happen.
Yes. Sarah, you did the research. You really tried to do your homework, and it went catastrophically wrong. To someone listening...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
As soon as I come round, I knew there was something wrong. And he was just telling me it was normal. That's the favourite word over there. It's normal. And I was begging. I couldn't breathe because they'd taken too much skin. I'd lost I had to have 8 blood transfusions because I'd lost 6.5 pints of blood. And I had drains coming out of me everywhere. And it took them 9 days to actually listen to me and I was telling them there was something wrong. I was only supposed to be out there 12 days in total. And I was out there 28 days in Turkey. And they actually operated on me while I was wide awake in a Botox clinic. And that's how I picked up the MDRO, which is a multi-drug resistant organism.
Can I ask you the obvious question? And I could talk to both of you forever. And we both wanted to make sure that this, on the basis of that story of the lady who lost her life from Salford, people are warned. I know it's a silly question. So what would you say to people, mate, after what you've been... Don't.
Don't do it. It's not worth it. My children could be visiting me at my grave right now, and it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. I wish I just still had my saggy skin. I really do. I wish I had my saggy skin. I'm a totally changed, different person now. I'm scared. I can't sleep. I have nightmares. The physical pain I deal with daily is horrendous.
I really appreciate you being with us, Sarah, and Ian as well. And please, God, serve a warning to people. It might appear to be cheaper. You might even do research. But when you watch this and you listen to that brave lady, you certainly wouldn't consider it.
Thank you
guys for being on. Thank you.